Happy.
All right, so of course, spawning up to the top left, we have Mr. Snute even. Sorry, I'm trying to orchestrate the overlays as well. It's a little bit difficult whilst introducing, but whatever. Spawning up to the north, we have Mr. Liquid Snute as our blue Zerg. And we have down to the south, it is Happy, who is our red Terran, still without a team, correct? I don't think he's joined one since Empire.
I think you're correct.
So
this actually reminds me of the Warcraft 3 days where Happy was an absolute monster. Like some people may know this, some people may not know this, but Happy played the weakest race in Warcraft 3. And some people say like, oh, let me guess, Roddy, that was your race too? It's like, no, actually, like he really did play the weakest race, which was called Undead. Was it impossible to win with Undead? No. Was it hard? Hell yeah. Anyways, Happy played Undead, and he played it on a level that was just unmatched. Like, Happy was, for a while, the best Undead player in the world, hands down. I thought he was better than the Korean Undeads. He was better than the Chinese Undead players, even though it was close with Tet in that, you know, just to give you guys a real throwback Warcraft 3 scene story.
Not a clue.
No. Anyway, like, he was an absolute monster, but then on a certain point, he left EG, and obviously, he could have pretty much joined any given team because he was Happy and he was the best or second best Undead player in the world. But he didn't join a team, and when I asked him about it, he's like, well, I'm not going to join a team for, well, he didn't use this word, but let's say a crappy salary if I think I'm worth more.
Okay.
I was like, yeah, I can understand it, but wouldn't you rather at least have like the 500 euros a month that you can get instead of like, I don't know what he asked for, but I assume it was a little more than that. He's like, no, I feel like I am worth this, and if no team wants to pay it, then I won't join any team. But back then, in my mind, that didn't make any sense because 500 euro a month sounded like so much money to me back then. And, you know, if you're like 17, 18, I think that is a lot of money. But he was very resistant in that. He's like, no, if I can get the offer, what I think I'm worth, I'm not going to join any team. I rather don't get a salary at all than get a salary that I don't think, you know, justifies my skill.
I think there's a lot of respect there, actually, for himself. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool to hear.
It probably helps as well that he won a couple tournaments up to that point, so he already had quite a bit of money saved up.
I imagine that poorer players who think they're fantastic probably couldn't say the same thing.
No, exactly. I mean, like, for me neither. Like, I was always God happy. Like, any team wants to give me a salary for losing in tournaments, sign me up. I'm really good at that.
Well, back into this and see what Happy can do much here with this bunker. He's already brought the Reaper forwards as well, and he's always been kind of keen on getting bunkers up if he can find the opportunity to do so, but Snute's kind of good, so he won't let that happen.
No. He got the SCV, and that's the most important thing, because now he doesn't have to worry about that bunker finishing up anytime soon. Happy is going to let it there, maybe as a little bit of bait. Maybe he just wants to scare Snute a little bit. What did Snute cancel there? Was that an Overlord cocoon? Or he cancelled the cocoon, which
he did?
Gave him 100 minerals. Something splashed. I don't know what it was.
Must have been an Overlord, maybe.
Yeah, because he probably queued up another Overlord. Then he realized, like, hey, I still got 8 free supply over here. I don't need to queue up another Overlord. Second Reaper has made his way across the map. So this that's interesting. Most people go for 1 or 3 Reapers. He makes 2.
Yeah, middle of the road, I guess, and just going for the triple command center off the back of it. So Snute should be able to see that third command center pretty soon, though. Once he sees that with this Overlord on the left-hand side, he will know there's a triple command center opening, because nobody makes this first command center that late, really.
Or there, for that matter. It's like, man, that would be like the mind game of the century. Like, actually Happy has like 7 Rexes of, like, you know, just like naked Marines pumping out. He's queuing up 35 Marines, and Snootie's like, oh, okay, it's a triple CC opening. And then solidly just like 40 unupgraded Marines march across the map.
That's how some Zergs have lost games in the past, out of crazy situations like that.
But yeah, the problem is that there is another Overlord in the right bottom side that would have spotted, you know, that there is no command center there. Otherwise, that would be the greatest mind game I have ever seen. Would
have been truly glorious, but not to be. Because we have the starport on the way now for Happy, also throwing down the Tech Lab, so it's going to be good old Banshee for him. And even the Reapers are going to come back home now, making sure that they're not going to be caught off guard by anything but speed. And we have the third hatchery on the way.
Sorry, I think I muted myself there, but I'm not sure if that mute went through.
That's okay, man.
Yeah, it's funny to see Happy still make Banshees. Of course, Banshees are just still a popular unit in this day and age, in this matchup. But in the early days of Wings of Liberty, Happy was known to be, I think this day and age, it's still a little bit true, but to a lesser degree, but in the early days of Wings of Liberty, Happy was, without a shadow of a doubt, the most stubborn player on the European server.
Yeah.
It was just like, he's going to open Cloak Banshee against Protoss every single game, and he always thought it didn't matter because, you know, he thought his micro would make the difference. It's like, well, Happy, actually, like, you're 100 times better in this game than I am, but if I know you're going to open up with a Cloak Banshee on one base, I'm going to open up with Phoenixes in a robotics facility, and I have 0 units other than an Observer and a Phoenix, and I'm going to have the time of my life. And
yeah.
I actually stole a couple of ladder points that I completely did not deserve.
That's funny. And actually, I think those Hellions can fit through, but they're just going to engage straight with the Queens anyway, and do a little bit of damage to them. Dart on out, lost 1 Hellion for a Queen. Not the worst of trades at all there for Happy. That's really okay.
That is a lot of roaches on the way. 9. 9 is a number that gives me the idea he wants to attack as well. Like, the speed is on the way now. That is just too many. Like, normally you make, if you want to make defensive roaches, it's 4, maybe 5. Sometimes you see 6, but 9? 9 is a very interesting number over here. And I really feel that Snute has to do something with it, because you can't just get away with making 9 roaches and not taking or not doing anything with them. At least that's the way I feel about this matchup.
Well, also he knew that, you know, this Hellion pressure could actually come at the front, so he spread his creep very strategically on the edges of his cliffs to then eventually leapfrog it down and give himself a little, like, pad there to actually get that going later on.
Makes it a lot harder for Hellions to keep track on where the active tumors are. Very smart by Snute.
Yeah. So, going to push away this Banshee, which hasn't really done a whole lot at all just yet. And Snute getting himself up his extra 3 gas geysers, so he's going to have a lot of gas coming in very, very quickly.
Yeah, he's queuing up 14 drones now, so in the end he did not do anything with his roaches. Maybe he tried to trick his opponent a little bit. I'm still a tiny bit surprised by the amount of roaches he made. Right now the heading count is up to 6. There is still that 1 Banshee as well. And it's just like pushing out some damage on the Queen and stuff, but Happy not really getting the damage done I think that he was hoping for. Snute on the other end is probably quite pleased with how this has played out in the long run, because he's gonna kill that Banshee. Man, he got so close to killing the Banshee in the middle of the map. It was like 1 hit away.
Yeah, the big question is now, can Snute deal with mech? Because Happy here is going to bring in double armory's worth of mech very, very quick to the field. He doesn't really slip up too much. Needs to get himself another supply depot pretty soon, though. And then he'll be totally fine and not hit some supply blocks.
My question to you is, James, are we going to see Flying Locust?
If this game goes further, yeah, I think so.
Like, I think if it's okay on one map, it has to be Vani, because you can just spawn those locusts from the gold base and they can fly into the natural. But I think it's just for very quick Vipers. Anything else would surprise me. But I would love to be wrong, guys. I would love to see some flying locusts.
Oh, you mean the infestation pit right now? Yeah. I think just going down the usual path at the moment and then later on actually incorporating them is something we could definitely see. Oh, it's already starting.
Wow, he's doing it. Okay.
Doesn't surprise me. Like, we've seen a few games, especially on this map, as you mentioned, with this kind of thing.
I've actually not casted a single game yet. I know I've seen it in a couple of games that I did not cast, but when I was actually casting, I don't think I've seen it in a single game. So this is kind of exciting for me.
Here we go. Here we go. Snooty bringing the power of Swarm Host back in a whole different way. I mean, to be fair to him, other people started doing it as well around the same time. It's just such a different dynamic that it actually adds now.
I must say, he's doing some serious work with his roaches on the south side of the map. He's keeping Happy's work account relatively low. Happy's not working, not mining in the most optimal way. But of course, this is great news for Happy if he's actually able to get this hatchery, but he's not going to be able to get it. The Queens could, of course, transfuse it as well. Some people may think, why didn't he suicide on the hatch? It's because I think it would finish up anyway, and then the Queens would be able to transfuse it.
Wow.
So, really good job by Snute. Not only doing a lot of work on the other side of the map, but also keeping his hatchery alive. What more can a man wish for?
Yeah, indeed. Especially since those roaches, they actually got like 5 or 6 more SCVs, while there were Thors and siege tanks very, very close to them. So dancing around a little bit, getting them those kills finally. And now, I mean, Happy has no path to really get out apart from these Hellions. The Swarm Hosts are going to be very annoying soon.
Happy was supply blocked and he just used Call Down for supply depot, but he used it in a supply depot in his natural, his original natural, which probably means that it's going to die soon as well, and that always stinks. No Terran ever wants to lose their gold supply depot. I kind of wish they would like change, or like you could get a
supply depot.
Yeah, man. Like you should be able to get like a little skin for your Call Down for supply depots. They should look way cooler than they actually do.
Yeah, it would be pretty sick. It would be pretty sick.
It has to be shiny. It's like gold with a purple edge.
But then you get rewarded through that skin by, you know, not spending your mule. So it's like, well, you know, you've used this on your supply drop, and it's kind of odd, but no, regardless. Here they come the aliens again over to the right-hand side, and looking to kill off a few more drones here. There's already 2 spine crawlers in production, but not going to be done by the time these Hellions actually get here. Doesn't have blue flame, so he could have probably done a little bit more with this in later stages of the game, or if he'd have got it quicker.
Look at that fat Swarmos blocking the entrance. He's like, okay, I'm not very strong anymore, but at least I'm very fat right now. So I'll block entrances, and he does. In the end, these Hellions were able to do a little bit of work, actually. I'm surprised, because it didn't start off all that promising. Yeah. The first 2 Hellions only killed 2 drones. But these Hellions are getting slightly more work done, which forces Snute to produce 8-9 additional drones. But I want to see him do some work with the Swarmos, and I also want to see how Happy is going to deal with this. He's getting a planetary fortress at his 4th base, so Happy will stabilize on 4 bases. That is like the least you need as a Terran mech player. Oh yeah. It's very unlikely you will ever be able to win with 3 bases on mech. So 4 is, of course, you know, that's kind of like the standard base, and then like getting your 5th, that's often where things get very complicated and tricky. And these Swarmos, they're on a mission. It's always so silly to watch Swarmos move at the moment, because I always expect them to be moving slower than they actually are, and then you watch them, it's like, these little guys are on roller skates at the moment. It's ridiculous. He has so many, by the way. He has way more than I normally see. He has 12 Swarmos. Yeah. Like, his real army must actually be so small right now that I kind of feel if Happy decides to run across the map, there's a good chance that he just kills everything. But here we go. That Mister is going to get slaughtered immediately. I think these add-ons are going to get slaughtered as well. It's very smart of Happy to lift up the majority of his buildings. I would love to see these locusts actually shift the target towards the orbital command, and he can probably still get it. He has to lift up the orbital. Oh, there he goes. So he got every add-on, he got every missile turret in the main. That's pretty sick. 1 wave. For 3 units. And he got out of there after launching them from such a close position, because they are so fast. I mean, especially when you play mech, this has to be like the most frustrating thing in the world. Now you can't make any tanks. Yeah. Or Taurus. You have to spend time making all the add-ons again, and then you can start making all these buildings, and during all of that assault you couldn't make units. It slows him down considerably. Okay, there is a tank over there, but the Banshee spots it, but can't really do anything about it. The Vikings will get a couple of shots off. These Locusts will change their targets instead. They're going to work on these Hellions. This time the Locusts not all that successful, getting no more done than a couple Hellions. I kind of wonder how it would have gone if he would have rallied everything towards the natural, or towards the natural, but there are 3 missile turrets there, and there were Vikings, so maybe this was the better choice for Snute. Well, Roach is coming in here, and actually that siege tank fire did actually kill that Widow mine off, so a little bit of a shame there for him, but he denied the Roaches from doing much. He lost 2 Swarmos, and he's actually replacing them. He has 11 Swarmos right now. Swarmos are 4 supply, correct? I believe so, yeah. So that's 44 army supply in Swarmos right now. That's pretty crazy. Ooh, Widow mine. Oh. Okay, doesn't want to go too much further. Thankfully, he has a lot of energy for transfuses. A lot of queens. Oh my god. Jeez. I mean, that creep spread is insane. He has 19 queens right now. How is Happy ever going to secure a 5th base? Like, that is the biggest question that I currently have. And the funny thing is, Snute is relying on an army of 3 units and energy. Yeah, basically. He's getting 7 infestors now as well, so he's just further strengthening my point. He has 7 Vipers, soon 7 infestors, then 13 Swarmos, and 19 queens. This is exactly like that one game that I was thinking of, where he was fighting Mass Raven, and right now there are 4 Ravens on the way. Well, thank you very much, guys. We expected and anticipated this to happen, and here we are. Oh yeah, I think the game that I was referring to was Snute vs Marine Lord on this map. So that wasn't Happy, but I know he had a long game against Happy as well quite recently, or at least a long series, which I think Happy won 3-2 in the Le Tut show matches. Normally Le Tut would be here to correct me, but he's currently spending all of his passion on Heroes of the Storm at DreamHack. That's true, that's true. I saw him doing some of that casting before, but anyway, kills off these Locusts as well. But still, I mean, this game could easily go on for like an hour. Like, looking at the setup that we're seeing here, Snute has all the like longevity behind him with how many queens he's got, with the transfuses, getting no parasite. That's cool. What? Oh, I got some nice fungal there. I got 6 Hellions for free. That's nice. 600 minerals. We're already starting to reach this phase in the game where I feel that Happy has to be slightly careful with the way that he starts sacrificing his money or his units, because, you know, Money is money, a wise man once upon a time said. He did get his 5th base at least. You know, he has the gold. So that gold is going to give him a lot of additional income, which will allow Happy to pretty much create whatever army in the hell he pleases.
Yep. Just going to slowly break down Happy here is Snute.
Yeah, so it's 4 starports with 4 tech labs in his 3rd base.
Where are they? Let's see. Okay, cool. All right, well, yeah, he'll have a lot of Ravens, that's for sure.
I want to see some... He's dropping so many command centers, like, and I know that is good, but I feel it's often like, oh my god, he's actually getting a lot of planetary fortresses as well. Oh my god, Happy is truly in it here for the long haul.
Yeah. The thing is that he is in his element, is Happy. I mean, he lives for these kinds of games, but at the I mean, with how Snute has...
I'm glad someone does, James.
with how Snute has played out his career as well, he pretty much does as well.
So we're watching patience versus patience over here.
Yeah.
This is like watching a game of chess where no player can win anymore, but they're still both looking for a way to win. It's like, no. Yeah. There's only 3 moves left, and we've tried all 3.
And we just keep trying them.
Yeah.
Like dancing around in circles, yeah. Eventually...
How do you call a draw again in chess? A standoff? Is that what it's called?
I actually can't recall. I don't know why I can't recall.
He just abducted a widow mine.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, that was nice.
I think this is the first time I've seen it. A lot of binding clouds going down and a couple of tanks. I heard a Seeker missile being casted, but it won't really connect with anything. Oh my, now he has a tank!
Why is he?
Yeah, that was so on there. That was such an overkill. That was like blinding cloud into abduct into neural parasite. It's like, wow,
he's just having fun.
This tank must have been made out of platinum or something. Like.
Yeah, that was pretty ridiculous. I guess he's like just saying to us, look how many spells I can use at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, like, all jokes aside, it's actually very hard. Like, if I would like resume game right now and I get Snute's army, I'd have absolutely zero idea how I would group my units.
Oh, definitely. This is ridiculous. Yeah. Playing this kind of composition.
I have no idea how I would group this. I think I would put my Swarmos on 1, obviously. Yeah. And maybe the Infestors on 3 and Vipe, but like I don't like having like other casters on 2 as well. So, and where do you have your queens? Like, how do you group this army? What a ridiculous army of Snute.
I don't know. I wish I could see the control groups. Actually, that'd be kind of fun. But I don't think I can. So, oh well.
I think right now he definitely relies a lot on his mouse as well. He probably has them all split up over different hotkeys, but he also relies a lot on his mouse for like the actual on-screen clicking.
Yeah.
Like some people are very good in that, in particular like old school Brood War players, and I feel all the Warcraft 3 players are like rather lazy and have always relied on control groups. And that's definitely me.
You've got to be very accurate. Got to be very accurate, that's for sure. 3-3's about to finish up actually for all of this.
Can we call it the timing?
This is, yeah, quite the timing. This will take a little while. It's one of those prolonged timings. That's what we're going to call it.
The awkward moment when a bunch of Blue Flame Hellions squeeze to the other side of the map, but there are no drones to kill because all of them got morphed into static defenses or are mining up the gold. And here it's the same. Students like, I don't need no minerals. I got enough minerals. I'm going to mine some gas.
Yeah, looks like it. This is, well, Happy needs to find a solution because right now the wall that has been created at the front here is really, really hurting him.
I must say these Hellions have actually done a little bit of work. They've altogether probably killed close to 18 to 20 drones. And now these 4 Hellions are actually still alive and they're still going to town, this time in the initial natural of Snute.
He basically eliminated all the gas mining.
Yeah, there's pretty much 0 gas income right now for Snute. At the same time, there are infested Terrans doing some work on the other side of the map, but I don't think they're doing enough work to actually kill this planetary fortress. And I kind of feel even if you would have killed it, then you just move your orbital there and then just rely on the other planetary fortresses to defend. I don't think that one planetary fortress was very key.
I do like the use of the neural parasite once something grabbed in to make sure it's not going to do any damage to you, so you don't have to spend so much energy on transfuses. But
like yes and no, I do agree with it, and it looks very cute. But at the same time, like if you abduct 1 tank and it shoots 1 time, and your army is surrounded by 19 queens, like
you're fine.
Is the neural really needed, or could we just drop a transfuse?
Oh, poor widow mine.
What I always wonder about, and like I know that Terran players right now they will shake their head when I say this, but if you play against an army like this, wouldn't you make some ghosts? Like, I'd make some ghosts.
Some ghosts? Yeah, maybe.
Like, I know it's hard to land EMPs against an army that's, you know, as mobile in a weird way and has so many ways to lock your army down, and ghosts are very expensive units, and mech is already very gas intense. Well, Seeker Missile's gonna shoot, actually. No, it's not. I got really excited.
They have to spend so much energy to kill one Raven because they don't have much anti-air aside from Fungals and Infested Terrans.
I am speechless. Fungal goes down, one Raven will die. At the same time, of course, we still have the 15 right now Swarmers. He's on 28 Infested.
I think the funny thing is that Cast a Hope was that, oh, okay, the Swarmers have changed. We'll never end up in these games again. How wrong we were.
We had dreams, James.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, this is just like actually kind of silly. Look at this Braveheart line of auto turrets fighting Infested Terrans. This is sweeping leaves on a windy day. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Or how would you call this? What is a good analogy for a small fight that doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things?
An internet discussion?
No, like just a... well, that's funny. Well done, James. Not exactly the analogy I was looking for. Fine, I'll take it.
Well, he's going to throw down a lot of Infested Terrans this time with Blinding Clouds onto the Planetary Fortress, so let's see how much this can do. Right now he's repairing those from the back and actually abducting some of these siege tanks forwards. So, yeah, that really didn't do that much. He got a few tanks.
Yeah, I mean, one of the Planetary Fortresses is burning. Snute is down to 22 drones, by the way, but I guess that is all right when you have 7,000 minerals and 4.6k gas in the bank.
Yeah. And his army just doesn't really die. Like, he doesn't lose that many units during all of this. So...
Yeah, I kind of feel like this is like giving the mech player, you know, a taste of their own recipe, so to speak.
Yeah, almost, yeah.
It's because like, you think you can sit back and then eventually win the game because I can't kill your army? Let's reverse the tables and let's create an unkillable army in which you will just be defending forever, and my army is literally never going to die or run out of energy.
I mean, the thing is that Happy in this position can't even necessarily group the majority of his army together, because when he does, he just gets attacked from one side that you've left weak. Aside from the Ravens, of course, which do stay clumped up quite considerably, but...
Like, I am definitely not like a person who really whines a whole lot about unit compositions or like, is this the way that StarCraft 2 is supposed to be played? But if I look at the unit composition right now of Snute, I do think it's a tiny bit ridiculous. Like, I'm not like blaming Snute for this, of course, because he's just doing what a man has to do to win.
Yeah, of course.
And this is the best way to deal with a mech army. And I know how frustrating it can be to play against mech. And I even have Tempest, and Snute doesn't have Tempest. But, you know, this is just like a ridiculous army composition. Neuro Parasite being used now as well on those stores again. Like, it's spine crawlers, it's unlimited amounts of energy. Like, what do you do if you're Happy other than probably not play mech in game number 2?
Yeah, basically. The thing is, though, is that oftentimes Happy will play mech in game number 2 after this kind of stuff, and then we'll just see the same game again.
And do you think that Happy feels that he's winning this game? I mean, like, he is, like, both players have used a lot of the energy right now, and Happy is actually moving forward, and he has broken through the first wave of defenses.
Oh my god.
But, you know, those are some serious blinding clouds. And if he then like moves further forward, he takes the risk of overextending and fighting against 19 queens.
Just like 5 locusts were doing absolute work under those blinding clouds. This is ridiculous. But I don't know. Like, I don't think he feels like he's winning it, but he's managed to break in, make a serious dent there, which is kind of good.
He's gonna steal some minerals, I think.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Penny saved is a penny earned. Yeah. My wise friend Luto taught me once.
But Todd Shaw has a lot of wisdom recently. It's weird, isn't it?
It's because he's closing in on 30s.
Ah, true. That's very true.
Actually, isn't he 30 already? No, I think he is.
Yeah, I think he might be.
Yeah.
Sorry, Todd.
Todd's so old.
So old.
Can't imagine ever being as old as Todd.
That's true. Although I theorized recently that because of my lifestyle and the fact that I don't eat vegetables, I'll be dead by the time I'm 33, which actually isn't that far away, so yeah.
That is a very sad thought, James. Like,
that's fine.
I'm pretty sure I live more unhealthy than you, and at least I'm aiming for 45.
Oh, well, okay then. I'll rethink it. All right, so he's made a dent still. He's still made a dent. He denied this 6 hatchery, but is it enough? I mean...
Nah, I mean, like, killing that one hatch doesn't really hurt Snute that much in the long run. I mean, both players are soon going to reach the stage in the game where they've pretty much mined out whatever money is available. Of course, there's one more fresh base, and Happy would love to secure this base. And I must say, he is pushing Snute back slowly but steady. Yeah, all I can say is great job in using pretty much every single ability that he had. Seeker missiles, auto turrets, and a couple of good spreads. Bringing SCVs now as well to repair his mech units. I think that is very important. Because Snute's army is obviously not a one-punch army. It's like just chipping away over time.
Yeah.
But if you just keep completely neglecting all the damage that he has just done, that is actually a very smart way for Happy to approach this. And that's very frustrating for Snute, because Snute relies on doing a little bit of damage here, a little bit of damage there, a little bit of damage there, and then eventually cleaning it all up at once. But he can't really engage a full HP mech army, especially not after he just spent the majority of his energy.
Yeah, I like how Happy has been pretty patient behind on his side of the wall, and then at one point he just all of a sudden got really angry and himself was like, fine, I'm going. And then has actually done a lot. He's killed a lot of static defense.
Yeah,
He's made headway.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, James, because it looked unbreakable what Snute had going for himself, with all those spellcasting units, with all the static defenses, with the creep there as well. Like, I was like, there's no way that any mech army is ever going to break this, but Happy moved forward at the right time. It turns out that the auto turrets do win the war against infested Terrans. Of course, he did lose a lot of expensive units in the... Actually, if you look at the units lost resource tab, Happy didn't even lose that much yet in this game. It's dead even when it comes to lost resources. Yeah,
the Swarm hosts apparently don't do as much as their predecessors. But here come the infested Terrans again. We've had a few Hunt Seekers actually queued up there, with extra auto turrets being added on as well. Hunt Seekers don't really get too much done. Likewise, the auto turrets at the front. He just continues piling on, but eventually something's got to break here for Happy, I feel. I think he can't surely keep doing this.
I mean, those Blinding Clouds were really good for a split second there. Unfortunately, the new Swarmos, it just takes a very long time. Like, these waves are not like the old Swarmos, where if you would like unburrow them a couple of seconds from each other, then at a certain point it's just a never-ending stream of locusts, and that is just not the case with this Swarmos. It will never be the case. You have one big wave and it has to do damage. It has to pick off at least a couple of units, because if you don't kill anything, well, the next 60 seconds are going to be 60 very rough seconds.
And look at the Swarmos, they're just dancing. They can't really find themselves the best angle that they want to actually launch their assault in, or even just launch an assault in general. And once again, there'll be a lot more auto turrets if he really wants to plant those down. Fungal goes with his elite floors at the front. Oh, he's actually going to throw in a lot of infested Terrans there to try and help out this fight and try and bring down some of this army of Happy. And Happy is losing quite a bit of supply.
Yeah, that was a great fight for Snute. Absolutely phenomenal control on all of his units again. The way he synced up the infested Terrans with the Swarmos, and then right when they were all supposed to fight, that's when those Vipers flew in from the north side and he dropped perfect Blinding Clouds on top of that mech army. So suddenly, Happy, instead of like losing nothing, I think he lost just like a bunch of siege tanks there, and he lost his stores. And let's not forget that, I never thought I would say it, but these 23 Ravens are running low on energy.
Yeah, they are. I mean, if you look at the resources lost, as you were mentioning before, you know, it was very even with about 16,000 to 16,000, but now 21,000 against 24,000. Snute does give himself quite the buffer, although that being said, there's still 8,000 minerals in the bank, but it's about the gas that's all important, in my opinion, at a stage like this. And right now, we see that Snute has plenty.
Yeah, that's true. But Happy was able to secure that 6th base, though, and that's really a base that I thought he was never, ever going to be able to secure in this game. But he did. So army supply, we're both looking at ridiculous army supplies of both players. 179 for Snute against the 141 for Happy. As we're closing in at the 40-minute mark of this non-stop action-packed game.
I'm just not sure how you break Snute. I mean, yeah, I guess he has to wait for a lot of Raven energy and keep going. But the thing is, Snute is keeping his army alive so well. The only things he's really losing during all of this is buildings and static defense, for the most part.
Yeah, and I mean, he still has plenty of minerals. And let's not forget, oh, Seeker Missile actually went off on the Viper. He didn't kill the Viper, but he did kill an Infestor. I mean, so this is nice for Happy, because he's basically killing a base of which he is mining off on the other side of the map. But, you know, for how long? Look at the Swarmos right now. They're going to knock on this base, and all of these SUVs, well, maybe not all of them, but quite a few SUVs are going to die. And he has to lift up this orbital very quickly. Otherwise, he's going to lose the orbital as well.
Yeah, a lot of power, and throws around a lot of auto turrets in the main base as well. Great Fungal, though, was onto this army, and actually he tried to chain a little bit of it to continue on, but still the Swarmos, still the Infestors, going to linger on behind all of this. One Infestor will end up dying off to another Hunter Seeker.
Infestors really die in an awesome manner when it comes to Seeker missiles. It's like half their body, like upward, like, you know, inversely floats upward. Like, it's very hard to explain, but it looks great. It's like, man, I know gymnastics who would dream of being able to do stuff like that.
Yeah, they're basically on a trampoline. They do what they can. I'm not sure how this... I still don't know how this game is going to end, how this game is going to play out.
I think Snute is always going to win this.
Yeah, always?
Yes.
All right.
I mean... okay, maybe not always, but I just feel that like Happy is...
like 90-10 maybe? Or
yeah, 9-10. Oh my god, look at that surround, by the way, on the Taurus. That's very cute. You just got a double locust surround off on Taurus. Those were, that's one more thing we can add to the list of things I thought I would never say. A double locust Taurus surround. What game is this?
And they keep going. How many what's the army composition? Still 28 Ravens, 2 Thors, 8 Vikings, 10...
I mean, Happy has 1,000 gas right now. Actually, after he just made a few more units.
Yeah.
Happy has 6 gas. He needs to secure this 6th base, otherwise this game will definitely end for Happy. I just feel like Vipers in the long run and Infestors are superior to Ravens when it comes to these trades.
You've just got to, I mean, it comes down to having no gas, right? That's what we said before. Not having the gas, like, it will put the nail in the coffin for you eventually.
Like, I think it comes down to secure kills, and like all the turrets and, you know, Seeker missiles, they do damage, but very rarely is it an absolute kill, and then the Queens can just heal up those units again, and then it was energy wasted for nothing, while every abduct into a fungal is a kill, and I feel in that way Snute is always going to have the upper hand. But he needs to do something about this 6th base. Snute did lose a lot of his tech buildings, by the way. He lost like almost everything in the main base.
Yeah, he has lost quite a lot, you're right.
Then again, he's only producing units of Hive Tech anyway, so it doesn't really need a building for Vipers and the Queens.
I say producing, and right now, unfortunately, neither team, or neither player is really doing anything. They need to... Happy needs a bit more gas to come in, and I'm not sure how long he can continue this on for. The thing is that if he doesn't have gas, he can't even repair the majority of these units. So
I always feel, by the way, James, when a Terran has this many minerals but no gas, like, you should just start making Hellions again, and even if you sacrifice all of your Hellions and they get fungled, and I know how awful Hellions are against these units that Snute currently has, at least I feel like you're able to do something with it. If you're able to kill like 3 or 4 Infestors with the blue flame splash, like, you know, maybe that's even wishful thinking that you can get 3 or 4, but, you know, why not give it a go instead of sitting with 9,000 minerals and not doing anything with it.
When you've got free room for supply, I guess so, yeah. You can even send them for counterattacks and be annoying and start killing off buildings. And if you get into a situation where you have to go into that weird wonky base trade where all your buildings are suspect and under threat, at least you've killed off a few more to start that off.
Yeah, good point. And I mean, we saw earlier this game where how much Snute struggled with just dealing with 4 or 6 Hellions. That's just because his army is, you know, not very mobile when it comes to that department. Like, it's mobile as long as it's on creep and it's running around, and it's very mobile when it comes to an aggressive matter, but having to defend against things that are basically behind your lines, like, then this army kind of sucks, of course.
Yeah, not on the best of spots just yet.
He's making 7 halberds right now. Cool.
Okay, great. So those little guys can start moving around, running around. I certainly wouldn't want to really have them with the main army. Like, I mean, he is rallying them towards here, and he may end up keeping them here, but I would rather they be actually doing something. But, nah.
Alright, well, these auto turrets are slowly but steady getting cleaned up over here by these locusts. A couple of PDDs are trying to help out a little bit as well. I don't think you want to use too many PDDs because I think they drain energy a lot quicker than auto turrets do. Or not, with drain I mean it's just like more energy intense, and before you know it, you may suddenly look at like 20 Ravens, of which none of them have enough energy to cast a point defense zone. He has 33 Ravens, by the way. Sweet mama, Jesus.
Yeah, this it's very difficult to break it. If he got a good fungal and then just sacrifices a few of his Infestors for that out of the range of some of these siege tanks, then great, but...
You know, whenever I look at a game like this, I don't really mind it that much. Like, I know there's always people like, oh my god, you know, the poor commentators. I don't really mind it that much because I will enjoy myself. I'm still watching things, you know, blow each other up, and it's fun. But what makes me sad is that we are going to like look into a bracket soon, of which we have missed like 3 or 4 complete series by the time that this is done. And we have like no idea how those games were. So, you know, if anything, I'm more sad about the information I'm missing of the other games. You know, maybe picking up on a couple of player tells or see which player truly surprises you and plays so much better than you actually thought it was, then I mind casting this.
Yeah, missing casting the games is the thing that I miss. Like, with a double elimination bracket like this, it's it takes a long time with a round of 16. So I don't mind that the bracket progresses through this. It's not like holding all the games. That would be crazy because we'd be here until like 2 AM. But yeah, not being able to cast them. Oh dear me.
For a second, I thought he was going to be able to land the Dream Fungo on top of all the Ravens. It would have still been very hard to renew that Fungo. He's desperately trying to get a couple of Seeker Missiles off, and he does get 1 or 2 off, but a Seeker Missile does not do enough damage to kill a Viper or a Swarmos. It does kill the Infested, though, but it doesn't kill one of the other units. I mean, look at his madness, James.
That's a good Fungal. That's a good Fungal. He caught a lot of the Vikings as well as the Ravens at the front. Didn't catch many Ravens, actually, on there that I look at things. But I would love to see first-person point of view of Happy as he moves on to creep, because he must be frantically clicking everywhere, unsieging, sieging up, using Hunter Seekers, using PDDs, but he has lost a little bit of his army supply during this push.
Yeah. I must say, whenever I cast a game like this or I watch it, like on my screen, I am like zoomed out as far as I possibly can be. No, you don't have to do it. Like it's very awkward for maybe some of the viewers, but I love seeing it like this. And if I would actually be playing this game and you're as zoomed in as you are as a player, I think this is very tricky to control this.
It's like, where is everything from this viewpoint? It's very difficult.
Yeah, it's so hard because you have to scroll up all the time with your mouse. You have to see where that army is. Like I'm looking at this at maximum zoom, and I'm just looking for opportunities on either side. And of course, I'm completely aware that what we see is not something that the players see. Well, I guess Snute could kind of see it because he had Creep Tumors active for the longest amount of time. But
so it looks like our Infested Terran Flying Locusts have become the new old Swarm host. This is hold on pretty strongly for him.
I mean, whenever Happy really pushes forward, he does do some serious work. Like, I'm quite surprised if you take a look at the units lost resource tab, that it's still as close as it is. Like, it's 33,000 against 37,000. That is not the worst news ever for Happy, especially when you take into consideration that he has been mining way more. Like, I'm convinced that he has mined more than 4,000 resources more than Snute. If it comes to anything, I really think he probably has like a 10,000 resource lead when it comes to the amount of stuff that he has mined.
Yeah, I would say so as well. If you look at these bases, I mean, this is almost full. There's not really much to take in from there, but still a lot of Infested Terrans as well as the Locusts.
That was almost all the energy of all the Infestors, by the way. If you take a look at the Infestors right now of Snute.
Whereabouts are they?
Left off, yeah. Yeah, there.
Oh yeah, that is a lot of the energy.
They're spreading pretty much everything.
Wait a minute, he has a second infestation pit. It's kind of interesting.
I think he was worried that he was going to lose. Oh, he's going to... Oh,
jeez.
I thought he was going to kill. I think he was worried he was going to lose the infestation pit in his main base. Because, you know, the Ravens were flying in there. And I guess he just really felt like he needed that infestation pit. So that's why he made a backups infestation pit, which makes sense.
All good. Kills himself off some extractors as well. They don't need to be there anymore.
I pretty much make a backup Twilight console at the 6-minute mark in most of my games.
6-minute mark.
And that is absolutely not a mistake, guys.
No, not at all. Not at all. Oh, the Infestors are positioning themselves on the left. What's on the right? It's the Locusts. Now he's going to try and come in from both sides here.
2 tanks. 3 tanks? Oh, that's actually quite sick. I mean, it is really cool. It's just very hard to like do an extreme hype cast of this because it would be 54 minutes of us screaming at you guys, and that's just not good for anyone. It's not good for James and me, and it's not good for you guys as well. As much as we could be like, oh my god, the Locusts are flying in. Like, yes, they will fly in the next minute as well, and the next minute too.
He got onto some Swarmos on the right-hand side, actually, with the Hellions.
Hey.
This is what we talked about.
We were preaching for this. Oh. So nice whenever I say something smart in a matchup that's not Protoss. Happens once a year, guys. Take a note.
Perfect. It's happened.
What
Get SC2 highlights on that. All right. Well, yeah, we're going to be here for a while.
Yeah, like Snute has just used most of his energy on the Infestors, so he's like, all right, let's take a chill pill for a little bit. Let's regenerate some of that energy.
And he's actually just spreading out a few of the Swarm hosts over to the right-hand side now. Spread them out everywhere.
Yeah. I must say it's quite cool, by the way, how Happy stole like the 6, well, it's not 6.
The middle base?
The middle base from Snute. Like, once upon a time, there was a proud hatchery there with an Empire. But that Empire is long gone.
Yeah, industry came over and took away Mother Nature's prowess. That's how it works.
It's just sad, man.
Real-life situations. Well... Okay, so at least he's getting some gas. That's the most important thing from that location, really. Although, he's banked up quite a few minerals, surpassing Snute now. Remember that 90-10 we were on about? There's the potential, I think, that Happy can do this. Slowly, but do it.
I still like Snute's army way more, and I like the fact that Snute still has the potential to get a lot more gas. I mean, the fact that Happy is actually mining of these refineries, not extracted, and there's actually 3,600 gas left. I mean, yeah, maybe you're right. Look at the Hellions, by the way, on the right side.
Oh.
Boom!
All those Hellions! Any splash, any damage, anything that they can do here is brilliant.
That is doing really good, and this doesn't hurt Happy in the slightest. Even if all of them would have died, he still has 7,000 minerals left. He's more than fine.
Yeah, and he couldn't afford anything else to put in his mainstay army because he doesn't have the gas for it just yet. So it's definitely a right thing. And even if you do eventually, or are able to afford later on with the amount of gas that you bring in, you just sack the Hellions. It doesn't matter.
I am extremely envious of the way that Snute is controlling this army, though. Like, I wouldn't even know where to begin. This is one of these things where you know what all the units can do, so you expect a certain player to click the right buttons, but if you give me this army, I have no idea where to start. So Snute is executing this very well. It's definitely something that requires a lot of practice.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. He's moving on to this base once again and denying the gas from coming in. This is the gas guys are mining base that Snute absolutely needs to keep alive, but for now it's dead, so...
Does Snute have gas left? There's actually gas left in the Vespian guises in Snute's pocket expand.
Oh, quite a bit.
But Snute is quite notorious for forgetting about his pocket expand. It's not the first time.
That's true. Landing a fungal on some of these Hellions at the front, yeah, they'll eventually die, but as we said before, they're a bit more of a throwaway compared to the more bulky, useful units in this army.
Yeah, and I mean, it's even good for Happy when he forces Snute to use a lot of his energy, a lot of infested terrans, a couple of fungal growth, maybe a wave of locusts just to kill those Hellions. Because right after that, the real army can start marching forward again. But of course, you know, like Happy is like kind of bleeding units now as well, because all those units that keep being abducted over and over and over again, they do hurt. So slowly but steady, he's starting to run a little bit low on gas again. But yeah, this one base that he secured in the middle of the map, that might actually be his saving grace.
Yeah, definitely. With the gas that's coming in from there, it's helping out a lot. Here come Infested Terrans and Locusts once again. Happy actually losing a small portion of his army. It's now, the difference in resources lost is 40 against 46,000. But as you mentioned, you know, Happy had mined more.
Snute soon has to be careful that he doesn't get eliminated soon because he has no more buildings.
Yeah.
He doesn't really have a whole lot of buildings left.
If he keeps just marching around the left-hand side and slowly clearing out everything, Snute knows that he has to take the engagements slowly, where Happy can take them a bit faster.
Pretty phenomenal job. I've been complimenting Snute quite a bit about the way he's been controlling all his units, but I have to definitely give credits to Happy as well, as he's always pretty much had a perfect mixture when it comes to Ravens, Vikings, the amount of tanks, stores, and now he's squeezing in those Hellions again when he can get rid of those, you know, extra minerals that he had banked up. So he's making a very healthy, you know, combination of everything as well in any given moment, and that's not easy because in a 1 hour game it's very easy to suddenly be too low on tanks or too high on tours or for anything in that matter. And I felt he's pretty much always had like a very healthy combination of everything.
Locust on the left-hand side, pushing forwards and killing off these extractors, which are important.
Yeah, that should have happened a while ago, even though it was long-distance mining, so it wasn't as optimal as it could have been for Happy. Happy was able to secure, let's say, 500 gas of that little move there.
And now the Hellions are going to work on some of these extractors whilst being protected by the Ravens that are spread out and throwing auto turrets everywhere. So why on earth not? Kill off this hive.
If he loses the hive, that's really going to suck because there's no infestation pit anymore, I believe.
It's right behind the... it's actually behind the hive in the little overlord nest.
You're right. It's hidden below the overlord.
Yeah, so it's kind of okay for him, but he's going to lose that probably as well. I mean, this area you can't really get into.
He's going to try to kill this Orbiter Command on the left side of the map. Oh, man. I was like, maybe Happy's not paying attention, but even before they landed, he already lifted it. Very well done by Happy.
Clears out the hive. Hive restarts in production towards the natural, which... And there's even a hatchery actually having to go down here as well. Jeez. I don't see a way that, again, Happy now can be broken with how this works out.
I mean, yes, Happy's army is starting to look pretty damn ridiculous, but I still feel like a couple of chain fungals can definitely change this entire game.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm just, I was very surprised because I felt in the mid phase of this game where Snute had this unbreakable wall with creep, you know, creeping towards the forward base of Happy there. I just felt Snute was never going to lose that, and I felt that Happy was never going to be able to secure his 6th base. I was even wondering if he would ever secure the gold base. When he got that, I was like, all right, you know, that's something, but I really didn't expect him to get that 6th base. And the 6th base also allowed him to start mining of that 7th base in the middle of the map that was supposed to be Snute's base.
And now this army is coming around the right-hand side, trying to get towards this location. If it could get a hive again, that would be fantastic. He can siege up. Infested Terrans have already been thrown down, but there's already 2 Hunt Seekers.
Yeah, I really like those. I really like those Seeker missiles in the middle of those big clumps of Infested Terrans, because the Seeker missiles actually do absolutely phenomenal against them. Happy's in a very aggressive position right now, though. A couple of blinding clouds go down. The Locust Wave is down. This is a moment where Snute has to trade very well, and I feel so far Happy is kind of hanging in there. If those blinding clouds expire, like, he needs to clean this up right here, right now, James, and I don't think he's going to be able to clean it up.
I don't think so either. The Infested Terrans are going to end up falling. Big Fungals, once again, with the Blinding Clouds in tandem with this army, but I still don't think he has enough to be able to hold off against what we're seeing from Happy, who just killed off the Hive, and I think this hatchery is basically his only building left.
Yeah, he doesn't really have a whole lot. Like we mentioned before, he's going to be eliminated soon. He's going to lose the spawning pool. He's losing pretty much all of his overlords as well. What I was really surprised by the way, Snute could have produced more units. He was on like 160 out of 200. He had money and gas, but he just kind of refused to spend anything.
He's building 2 more hatcheries at the back. He knows that he's in a bit of trouble because, to be honest with you, this army could have suicide on that hatchery and just killed it off if he'd have known, obviously, that it had been the final one. But now seeing those 2 hatcheries, Happy's got to know he is looking at a victory here.
Yeah, I mean, with the old Swarmos, this would have never happened, of course. But the new Swarmos, these waves, they just take a lot of time. These other turrets will start working on these hatcheries. Snute has to keep it alive. That is all right. He doesn't have any other drones. Yeah, he has 4 drones. Where are they?
They're just right next to this, right next to the hatchery.
Snute, those are your last buildings. You think
this army just chilling next to this command center? He's been chased around. Wow, GG. Happy, after 1 hour and 4 minutes, is able to vanquish this setup that, let's be honest, Snute forced it into that position with how he played. I mean, of course, he's going up against a Meching Terran that he knew that he kind of has to try and do something like that, but he was willing to play Happy's game there.
No, he was, and once again, I really felt that the key phase in this game is when Snute had those Spore Crawlers and those Spine Crawlers creeping towards the forward base of Happy, and I felt like with all the Infestors, all the Queens, all the Vipers there, I just thought there is no way Happy's ever going to be able to secure that 6th base. He's ever going to push his army back. You know, eventually he's just slowly but steady. He's going to bleed units and he will die, but it didn't happen. Happy did break through. Just kind of timing out the Locust Waves, very nice. I love the addition of Hellions later on, you know, trying to get a couple of units for free here and there. And then slowly but steady, he just eliminated Snute. He's just like, I'm just going to kill all your buildings with my auto turrets.
Yeah, what a crazy game. Crazy game. The way Happy is able to prevail there. And now, surely, Snute has to play, I would argue, a bit more aggressive on. I mean, it was Vani Research Station.
Can I vouch for a 6 pool? is there anyone out there with me? 6 pool, say aye. All in favor of a 6 pool?
Everyone says aye, and Snute's like, but I don't want to. No, you have to do it. You just have to do it. I'm sorry. Okay.
No, I don't know. It depends on the map, of course, a little bit. Actually, I have no idea what the map is. Like any kind of thought process that I had going into this series has been lost after looking at the Infested Terrans and Seeker missiles shooting at each other for 1 hour straight. What else has happened? Oh yeah, Utermos, by the way, waiting for the winner of this series in the winner bracket. That is, of course, something that's very important to mention. Utermo played an extremely good series against Hearthstone in the semifinals. If you're looking for some you know, Terran porn, so to speak, in internet terms, I think you want to take a look at Utermo versus Hearthstone because he played very well.
Yeah, he did. I'm just making sure that we are updated with the brackets at the moment and see what's going on. Right now, down in the lower bracket, whilst they're waiting to get into game number 2, Showtime will go up against Bunny as Bunny beat Mana. Showtime is going up against, we can full screen that and let's scroll in a little bit, make this a bit bigger. So we're basically looking at the lower bracket here because we know what's happened in the upper bracket.
Yeah, some interesting results. Targa taking out DMC 2-0. That's a good victory for Targa, who I think has been struggling a little bit in ZvP in the past. Like, he's always been good at it, but I think he's been struggling in actually finishing games. He often got himself in a very good position, but then it's just like he didn't know how to close it out. So it's a good victory for him because DMC is a very strong Russian Protoss player. He's now going up against T. Drogo, so that's a very fun matchup as well, which is kind of like the clone of Lilbao, just a little less successful so far, but very similar when it comes to playstyle, and a very entertaining guy to watch. He streams as well. You guys should check him out every now and then. And then the winner will move on to play against Hearthstone, while Showtime goes up against Bunny, like you mentioned. Bunny, who did take out Mana 2-1. So a lot of cool results. Looking at this bracket, it's actually pretty well balanced when it comes to all the races. Of course, in the top side of the bracket, there's no more Protoss, but Hearthstone made it to the semis, and there are plenty of Protoss still alive in the bottom side of this bracket. So we've got a little bit of everything, multiple nations represented as well, but I must say the Dutchies so far holding it down.
Yeah, Dutchies doing well. Dutchies are doing well. How happy would you be if you Thermal and Hearthstone advanced to Shenzhen? How happy?
Sorry?
How happy would you be if both the Dutchies advanced to Shenzhen?
That would be sick. I don't even really want to think about it yet because there's a good chance, I mean, not a good chance, but it's theoretically still possible that neither of the Dutchies would qualify, so I don't want to get too ahead of myself. But yeah, if Utermut would win the upper bracket, that would just be great for Dutch StarCraft, would be great for him as well. And obviously, you know, I love to see the Dutchies actually make it to a real IEM. I think Hearthstone is always capable of making it out any European tournament, so I think he can do it as well. But yeah, things are looking very good for Utermut. He said he was very hungry before his series against Hearthstone, so hopefully this series gave him some time to eat a little bit and then even digest the food as well by the time it's done.
Plenty, I can imagine. Just need to invite you into here. Oh, you're right. Okay, great stuff. Okay, good to go. I assume so. Infernal Pools. What? Infernal Pools will be our next map.
Okay. Well, then we probably won't see Mac.
No, probably not.
Unless Happy is... No. Well, I actually don't know. There's no way he's going to play Mac on this map. That's like borderline impossible, right?
It's pretty crazy.
How would you ever play Mac on Inferno Pools? It's like the biggest... Imagine if it's cross Inferno Pools.
I mean, if you were close, maybe you could. But even then, Zerg would just bust you, right?
If this is cross Inferno Pools and he goes Mac, I will play Terran for a week straight.
It's cross.
Oh my god, it's cross. Alright, let's just go ahead and load into Inferno Pools.
Please Happy.
And please Happy, just like 11-11 or something in the middle of the map.
Oh dear me.
This is one promise I did not want to...
Why would you say these things?
I don't know. Because this just seems so unlikely to me, James.
Okay. Right, spawning down in the bottom left-hand corner, we have our blue Terran. It is Happy, currently at 1-0.
There was only a chance 1 out of 3 this would even be cross.
And then up to the top right, we have our red Zerg. It is Snute. There we go. Perfect. Okay. He could do it. It is Happy.
Can I add to the point like he has to win with it as well?
Oh, okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
That's fair, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, because I mean, like, just doing something, but, you know, as Drake once said, doing it right is a whole different story.
Did he?
And doing it is one thing, but doing it right is a whole different story. Something like that. And no, guys, I'm not actually serious when I quote Drake. Even though I do like his songs, I know he's not the most inspiring person on this planet.
What's a famous Drake song? Because I don't think I've ever heard of.
Take Care with Rihanna.
Take Care with
Rihanna. Or Hold On, We're Going Home.
Hold.
I've got my eyes on you.
No, I don't think I've heard the song.
I think you've heard that one. It has
really?
a very catchy beat.
Oh, okay.
You must have seriously lived in a cave if you did not at least hear that song once.
Going home.
Even sitting in this office, I'm sure that Apollo has played it once or twice.
You think?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I haven't cottoned on then. I don't know. I am out of touch with all of this popular music stuff. So
that's all right. Different strokes for different folks, James.
Too true.
2 chains? No, just
2 chains. No. Okay, so, Snute is going to soon find out that his opponent is not in close positions and probably be incredibly happy from that position on.
He's opening up with a Reaper. Now, of course, he did open up with a Reaper on Vani as well. But yeah, Happy would have probably liked close position. It's really funny how this works, right? Because a lot of people hate the Infernal Pools with the fact that, like, oh, if you get close position against the Terran, you can never win as a Zerg because they just take the gold and then they march forward. But whenever I see close position, Terran always loses because they don't know how to wall off on the Infernal Pool. It's like one of these moments where you think you've already won. So you're like a cyclist and you put your hands up in the air and then you fall and then somebody passes you the last 10 meters before the finish line.
It's a pretty sad sight. It's a pretty sad sight. But you're totally right. You are totally right. Every single time I see it, it's like, well, okay, Zerg's just going to come and bust you. And they're like, but why did you bust me? Well, it's like, well, because I'm not going to let you play it.
Yeah, or they go like one Reaper into triple command center and like into cloaked banshees. So they have like 3 units by the time that like 9 roaches and 15 bailings show up. It's like, guys, it's like, you know, these positions are kind of good for you. So is it really necessary to play that greedy?
Probably not. Well, Happy has now finally found his opponent and does see it with the SCV. Hasn't really sent the Reaper in an aggressive manner at all. He's just going to be playing his own game from there. I won't be surprised if we saw a third command center going down pretty soon for Happy, because, I mean, if he's this far away from his opponent, he oftentimes just goes for these kinds of things.
Yeah, I mean, like, look at Snute. He's making quite a few links, because Snute is probably aware of the fact that it's quite hard to wall off on Inferno Pool. So he's probably just going to make a lot of links and try to get a surround off on maybe a Hellion or two.
Yeah, they're on the way.
I mean, this is a tiny bit. Well, he didn't make that many, but it's also not little. How many are we looking at? 14? 10. 10 is an odd number, because I feel like it's not enough to surround Hellions. I guess it's just early on. He's going to try to get a couple of SCVs and maybe a Mew or two if he gets lucky. Is that what he's aiming for?
Maybe.
I'm a little bit confused. Or decent. No, that won't happen. Yeah, I guess he's just hoping for a cheeky SCV kill or two.
Yeah, and I think he could probably get away with even this amount of Zerglings coming out, because, I mean, there's not much pressure that Happy can put on just yet. And if you spend the lava on it, yeah, it's denying some drones, but by the time your opponent gets over there, you've probably made up for the lava deficit anyway.
I mean, I do agree with you, and it's also nice to have a little bit of map presence, and it's forcing Happy to stay back a little bit. But at the same time, you know, in this phase in the game, there's a world of difference between having 36 drones or having 43. Like, that actually has a massive impact on your economy. Like, when it's like 60 or 65, that doesn't really change all that much anymore, because then you're talking about like 5% of your income. But 7 workers out of like a 35 drone economy, you know, that is way more than.
But then
5%.
Does denying mining time at the natural make up for it?
Well, a little bit, but I think Happy is quite pleased with how this went so far. He's like, okay, you made a bunch of speed links, didn't do anything with it, didn't even lose a mule. I think he's all right.
Layers on the way for Snute. Looks like a 2-base Spire play here for him, to try and just kind of dive in and keep his opponent on his side of the map. If you're going 2-base Spire on a map like this and trying to bring the fight to your opponent's side of the map, then more happy Zerg, to be honest. Like,
I kind of like 2-base Spire openings on small maps like Expedition Loss, you know, where if they go ahead and make some sort of a crazy Hellbat push, you know, you just like shut it down. And then you count. He's coming back, by the way. He's making his second factory. I can't believe this.
Oh my god.
But like, I think the 2-base Spire stuff is really cool on smaller maps, and I think it makes a lot of sense. But right now, I actually don't think it's going to be able to do a whole lot for him, because there's no way that these Mutalisks are going to be able to make their way across the map and somehow get like all the SCV kills they get on maps like Expedition Lost, or sometimes even like Coda. You know, when we saw TLO play against Pold on Coda, which is probably like the best game that TLO will play all year.
Yeah, that's good.
But you know, like it all makes so much sense. But right now, I don't think these Mutalisks are going to be extremely successful. So Happy's gonna have a lot of time to set himself up. I kind of like how this is going for Happy. I'm just shaking right now. It's like, god damn it, I'm a really bad Terran.
Oh dear. Yeah. Out of the races that you know, in this game as well, I find Terran so difficult to play.
I think Terran is
difficult.
Terran is definitely the most difficult if it's not your main race as well, because it just like has a lot of unique features that only apply to the Terran race. And you have to do certain things, so it's really one of these things where practice makes perfect. But if you've never practiced it, it's far from perfect.
You just get destroyed. Yeah. I know that feeling. It's pretty horrible. But anyway, spreading some creep towards this gold base. Snute I think he gets the idea that this is going to be a longer game now, and is going to be setting himself up as quickly as possible. How many mutas? 7 mutas to start things off, just for the harassment, and then...
But you know, like in a disaster scenario for Snute, the way I see this unfold is the Mutalisks don't really do a whole lot. Happy gets a bunch of static defenses, and then he's going to roll across the map, and he's going to siege up over here on the high ground. He's going to shut this gold base down. At the same time, he's taking his fort base on the other side of the map. I think it's a very risky decision by Snute to take this gold base right here and right now, because that is the base that is the easiest for Happy to attack. If he would have just taken his initial turret, I think it would be a lot harder.
Do you think that the gold base here... well, okay, we might see some dead Mutalisks. Nice. All right, so well-placed Widow Mines. But do you think that taking the gold base now, before the mech really gathers momentum, is like, okay, I want to get as much out of this as quickly as possible?
You make a good point there, because it's very unlikely that... Like, Happy doesn't have the vision we have. If he would, then he could make different decisions, of course. But that's not how StarCraft 2 works. He's going to play this out in the way that you would normally play out mech. And the last thing you normally want to do as a mech player is, you know, roll across the map with just 2 or 3 tanks and like maybe a hand, like
Definitely.
2 Tors and then a few Hellions. Because you know, if he just makes a bunch of roaches and he crushes that, you set yourself back to the Stone Age and you have to start all over again, and it takes such a long time. So I think you do make a very good point there, that maybe it's a wise decision after all for Snute.
Interestingly, no siege tanks yet, and actually there's a lot of roaches gathering up outside of his main base, so...
He's doubling the army supply. There is no... I would say no bunker, but there isn't really anything to put in a bunker either.
Can these roaches break through? This is going to be a little bit tricky. I think he should be able to do quite a bit. If he doesn't kill Thors, he's killing a lot of SCVs there. He already killed 13 workers, first 4 Thors, and will he be able to get another one? Looks like he will.
Yeah, I actually think this game is just going to end right here, right now. Snute with a ridiculous amount of roaches just breaks it down at the front. Yeah, it's surprising to see how effective that was. Well, up to that point, I really felt that almost nothing went Snute's way. Like, I don't think his opening was particularly phenomenal against what Happy was doing. Then he flew his first 2 Mutalisks into 2 Widow Mines, which is not really that great either. He made those Zerglings early on, which wasn't a massive investment, but still, you know, 10 links that didn't really do a whole lot. Surprising.
In the end, you can breathe a sigh of relief. So
yeah,
you're a happy guy inside.
I mean, like, he went mech cross map, but God, that's never gonna work.
And look at that, it didn't. So GG. Well played. Snute was able to shut him down pretty quickly there. That is almost how I see every single team. Even, like, of course we were talking about the close positions. It's like, well, Zerg just comes along and busts them. But apparently there, even in cross spawns, Snute was like, all right, I'm just going to come along and bust you.
Yeah, I mean, like, Inferno Pools is the widest ramp ever, you know? Like, you could even make yo mama jokes about the ramp on Inferno Pools, because that's how wide it is. And that's why it's just such a tricky map to play, not just for Terran as well. Like, Terran needs a gazillion supply depots, Protoss needs a gazillion buildings. With Zerg, it often works a little bit different, but even ZvZ, I think, is a little bit messed up on Inferno Pools because of the way that, you know, this is not the type of map where you can drop 2 evolution chambers and a spine crawler behind it and you'll be fine. Like, no. You need like 7 evolution chambers. And it's just like not the way that most people like to play. And it's also a map where most of these players don't really have a whole lot of practice on. So it's often one of these maps where I think my opponent is going to veto it. And if your opponent thinks the same way, and then suddenly it's like, well, you know, it's like, how do they call this old stare down where 2 cars drive into each other and then they see
chicken?
Yeah, it's like basically playing chicken. It's like, who's going to veto Inferno Pools? And then suddenly no one vetoes Inferno Pools. And it's like 2 worlds collide, Polaris.
On Inferno Pools.
On Inferno Pools. Anyway, the score is 1-2, and we're going to go ahead and jump into game number 3, which is played on Coda, which has some potential to be a biomap for Happy. Or does he just always mech right now? Like, I'm actually not super up to date when it comes to Happy's TVZ. Like, I know I was obviously going to predict he would go mech on Vani, which, you know, that was pretty much a given. But I'm not sure how he's going to play it out on Coda over here.
Yeah, I don't get as much opportunity to see Happy at the moment, probably because he's not in a team and he hasn't done as well as he would normally in WCS. I think it was the Season 2 was the first time he hasn't been in a WCS Premier League. So. Tough stuff for him, but he's going to spawn down to the bottom right-hand corner. Of course, it is Happy. And then up to the top left-hand corner, we have our red Zerg tying up the series and trying to battle on through here. In the upper bracket to play against you, Thermal next, potentially. It is Liquid Snute.
You know, it's really funny how things can snowball when it comes to stuff like that as well, because I believe in Happy in Season 1 of 2015, he was in that group with Pig, right? Our Australian fellow caster, super pro gamer.
He was.
And then like Happy won that first series very decisively, and then he ended up losing the Decider series 1-2 against Pig, if I recall correctly.
What Happy won the first series against Pig, and then throughout the entire day, all of the Zergs in the group were like, okay, we've figured out Happy now, like how he's fighting and how he's playing, and then in the end, I think it was the one that, Pig won in. Yeah,
and it's really funny because so basically Happy was 1 map win away, or 1 best of 3 series away, no matter which part of that tournament you want to look at it, to making it into the round of 16 of Season 1. Instead, he gets eliminated in the round of 32 of Season 1, and then Season 2 he suddenly doesn't qualify. You know, it's really crazy how those things stack up, and I don't always believe that like everything snowballs, but if Happy just has a very good run in Season 1, you know, another top 8 finish, which is not unthinkable for someone of Happy's skill, there's a good chance he enters the Season 2 qualifiers with maybe less pressure and a lot more confidence. And it would have all been different.
Yeah. Oh well. Poor Happy. The thing is that for me, he never falls off in terms of how skilled he is in the European scene at the moment. It's just sometimes he doesn't get exactly the best of spots.
One thing is for sure, he's not poor, James. He has collected quite a bit of prize money over the years.
That's true. That is true. So he'll be fine and dandy. He's okay.
And he doesn't really strike me as the guy either who blows it every single weekend on crazy-ass parties in Moscow.
No, probably not. Probably not. He just sits there and plays the game and keeps it saved up.
Would be amazing if Happy actually has like this undercover life of being like a big party animal in Moscow. Just nobody knows.
We like one day go to like a DreamHack Moscow or something like that, and it's just like...
And you walk over the street and literally every single person in Moscow is like, oh, Happy, hi.
It's Happy. Like champagne bottles.
Yeah, you legend. It's like confetti coming down on the streets everywhere he walks. Like, yeah, I can see it.
We're like, this is really weird, guys. We never really expected this.
And then Happy's like, yeah, I've met some friends over the years.
Whoa.
All right. The Reaper is just hopping up and down, of course, looking for an opening or two, but Snute is too good to give it to him. He's not going to give him any drone kills.
Ooh. Yeah. If those lings had actually looped around a little bit further, maybe you could have even got that. Whoa! Oh, drone. All right, calm down, mate. As he'll go back to mining. But he was feisty. He was a feisty drone. Went for a little bit of a nip on that Reaper. Oh. Nope. To evacuate.
Man, Happy is playing with fire as well. This Reaper is almost trapped. These guys are so good in calculating damage and pathing of these units. Like, it's really funny how that works. But that is what marks a great SC2 player. And I think it's a little bit harder in StarCraft than it was in Warcraft and like Dota, for instance, where it's very easy to calculate the amount of damage. So then on a certain point, you could like use teleport while the animations were in the air because you knew it was going to either kill you or not kill you. In StarCraft 2, I think it's a little bit more difficult because a lot of the animations are so quick after each other that it's harder to time it out, but there you could really see how Happy exactly knew how far he could get into the Reaper and where the Queen would have to be to actually get multiple shots off and killing it. It's one of these small things, but these guys are really good in calculating the potential damage.
Roach Warren's going down here, but with the layer that fast, is he going to throw down more gases maybe? Like, this is interesting. And, well, there was a drone ending up towards the third base as well, but then they realized there was Reaper there and he can push it back. If he was going for more gas, then I would be like, wow, okay, this is like the really fast kind of Spire play. But with this, is he just trying to try and do a very, very strong bust with Roach speed or something?
It could also just be a couple of defensive Roaches. Like, we've seen Snute play so many different styles of ZvT. Could just be like a handful of Roaches and then he's going to go into Zergling, Muda, Bane, like he has done many times in the past. And then it will all just come down to making sure he doesn't take any economic damage and he gets his drone count like as high as, you know, Red would have got it in his glory days, because that's kind of the way you want to play that. And then you just want to have an overwhelming amount of units in a way that Xian used to play ZvT, which is a very entertaining style to watch. I kind of like it.
Well, he saw the Roach Warren at the front, but that's pretty much all he's seen. 6 Roaches are on the way with Roach speed as well, and just opening up the supply lines a little bit here. Actually, 2 extra Overlords. If he starts a third one, then...
I kind of think that this opening by Happy has a lot of potential over here, because, you know, the Spire is so late for Snute that I feel like Cloak Banshees could have an absolute field day if you position them properly.
Yeah, they're also very instrumental in defense against Roaches and stuff like that. There's a lot of Roaches in production here. I think this third base is a fake. Like, well, he doesn't really need it.
No, it's not a fake.
You don't think?
No.
This many Roaches, he's going to have like 15 out to actually try and go across.
True, but it's definitely not a fake. Like, he needs it. Because bushes like this often will do a lot of worker damage, while these Hellions actually get some serious work done. And if he reduces the Queen count, that's really going to give these Banshees the time of their life. This is actually not looking all that good, I think, for Snute. I don't see any way he's ever going to be able to saturate that base. I don't see any way how he's going to win with Roaches across the map while there's already Banshees out. If I was Happy right now, I would spam that Banshee button.
Oh, yeah,
and it would not be a single second ever that my Starport is not producing Banshees.
Well, some of these Queens are going to end up trailing this and try and get onto it, but obviously...
look at those mines, by the way. Those mines are like almost hidden. I don't think Snoot's going to be able to see them.
Okay, that was quite a bit of damage onto these Roaches to start things off. How many more Roaches are there on the field? There's 15 Roaches at the moment, about 6 or 7 or 8 at the front here. Needs to rally all those quads and try and do as much damage as possible, because they have a timer above their heads. These Banshees will eventually definitely be able to kill them off, regardless of what other units are around.
He has 3 Banshees out on the map. I only see 1 Banshee actually working on Rochoviak. Okay, there's Banshee number 2. Snute kills a lot of SCVs here. Actually killed way more than I thought he was going to kill. Look at the worker count right now. Just 26 left. He has killed 15. I mean, this was only a double orbital opening at first for Happy, so this actually does kind of hurt. The third orbital is not done just yet. Like, this is amazing and all, but now these Banshees on the other side of the map, they should be able to have so much potential and do so much work.
It's 27 workers against 60.
Yeah, but that's a little bit deceiving.
Nidus.
Okay, the Nidus follow-up is actually very smart. I mean, that is, of course, phenomenal, but those numbers are often a little bit deceiving, especially as soon as orbital number 3 is ready.
Yeah.
And, like, these Banshees are going to have absolute map control. And normally these Banshees should find openings for themselves as well, so they can, like, start getting, probably altogether, they should be able to get 10 drone kills. But the queen count is very high, and that Nidus is actually indeed a very, very smart follow-up.
Yeah, I wondered why he was making so many queens during all of this when this was going on. And now, you know, this has really answered the question, to be honest. This bringing the queens along with you.
Oh, okay. Well, he just shot down 2 out of 3 Banshees.
Okay, this is going to be really bad for Happy. I don't see how we can hold on.
No, I'm starting to agree with you. Nidus is going to go down. Well, that helps. The first Banshee just flies over the Nidus immediately, so that's going to help him a lot. This Nidus network won't go down. There's probably one that could go down near that Overlord.
And now he's got to chase it. He's got to look everywhere. He's got to.
You got to scatter your units. Come on, Happy. You know that there's never just one Nidus network.
He's going to find it.
Yeah, he's going to find it again. Is it in time, though?
I don't think so. He'll get out and transfuse.
Yeah, exactly. Queens can pop out and transfuse immediately.
Transfuse!
Yeah! Oh, so close.
Very well done, very well done. Snute at the moment, he is going to have quite the huge army just barreling down on this position. And he only has 1 siege tank. Yeah, okay, this is going to be difficult. Another Nidus
he's going down repositioning the mines, which means he's going to lose them.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Wow, he could have shot at least twice there with his mine. Ends up losing them instead.
He sends all the roaches forwards before actually using the queens as well with this.
But looking at the army supply, it's... Army supply is actually 53 against 49. It's not even as big of a difference as I thought it was.
Yeah, I felt the queens needed to be with the roaches, but yeah, oh well. So he might be able to hold on now, actually. He's got a second siege tank.
Yeah, I kind of have the feeling that Snute is looking at this. He's like, I could maybe break this, but do I really have to? And then the answer is like, no, actually, Snute, you don't really have to. You have 3 hatcheries. Yeah. You're up 30 workers. You're getting your 4th hatch up as well. Of course, the evolution chambers are very late, so that is a hard decision to make. But I think it's the right one. I think maybe he would have been able to break it, especially like you said, if he would have brought the queens at first. But after losing a handful of roaches over there, why not just go for the contain of the century and keep your opponent on 2 base mech, which isn't really all that intimidating. Yeah,
a bit difficult to really break out of this position now for Happy, as the 4th base up to the top right-hand corner is going to be up and running pretty soon. A perfect thing for me would be if he just brought a few, even a drone or 2 for some spores here, if he was really, really eager to keep this going.
No, he's just going to spread creep everywhere and make it so extremely difficult for Happy to ever secure a 3rd base.
Yeah, I mean, he already had those queens up to the top right, having spread some good creep up there, and now with all of this eventually joining up together, it's going to be very, very difficult.
So if this contain goes on for, like, let's say another 2 minutes, which I really think it will, because I don't see any way of Happy just, like, rolling down and breaking out of this. Well, maybe not 2 minutes. 2 minutes is, like, the maximum timer I feel on this contain. Banshee's doing some serious work on the top side of the map, by the way. If he gets a hatchery away, that's very nice. It's a little bit unnecessary. I felt like this did not have to happen.
The Queens had to retreat back through the Nidus Swarm. And eventually do get there.
That's good enough, because now he only lost the queen and he keeps the hatch alive. This may allow Happy to have enough confidence to actually clean up all the creep that is being spread outside of his natural. But I just kind of feel like, look at the amount of money that Snute has right now. I kind of feel like this is becoming a play game for him. And you can just like...
do what you want, man.
The world is your oyster. Do whatever you want, Snute. And like, I'm thinking about like, if I was Snute right now, what would I do? But then again, you can never underestimate a mech army, because I've been very far ahead against mech more than once in my life. Despite the fact that I am Protoss, I still managed to mess it up.
You know what I would do? Oh wait, no I wouldn't, because I don't have that much gas at the moment. I was about to say make a lot of Mutalisks, because he only has 1 core.
Yeah, that's kind of I kind of was thinking of Mutas as well. And I think with that 4th hatchery and now that 7 and 8 gas running, I think it's not a bad decision at all. But Snute is going to play it safe. He's going to get Hydrolisk, he's going to get Vipers as well, so he can start blocking some units. I think if I was Happy right now, I would play it extremely safe. I would just be literally like, all right, Snute, it's going to be one of these games again. You can do whatever the hell you want. I'm going to give you all the time in the world. because I can't really attack you. If I do, I'm going to lose my army and I'm going to lose.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to secure 3 bases. I'm going to max out. I'm going to get the best upgrades. And then eventually I'm going to try to get Ravens again, because if I do anything else, I will lose. So I may as well do this.
I have a question. To be honest, clearing up all of this creep on his side of the map, he's actually had to expend, or would have to expend, a lot of scans. Would it have been worth him, whilst he's been contained there, to have a Raven out with this to clean this up better?
Probably, because now he didn't even get all of the tumors.
Yeah.
And like, it's not like you know where they are, so he can't even do like some splash damage on the Hellions, because he has absolutely no idea where these tumors are located. You probably think he fought all of them, but he did not. So this is extremely frustrating.
To be fair though, his army supply is pretty good. His army is actually quite good, looking at it, but it's basically all hopes pitted on this one army alone.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have any bank to replenish his army. These Hellbats soaking up a little bit of damage. A couple of Blinding Clouds going down at first. These Banshees, though, where's the Overseer, Kalaris? These Banshees are doing a ridiculous amount of damage.
And if he kills off all of these Hydras, then the entirety of the Roaches are going to die.
That was a very promising start for Happy. He's going to be able to deny this 5th base.
Can he shut this down, though, with 19 Roaches and 7 Hydralists? If he kills the Hydras... Oh, and he gets onto the static defense before it's even finished. Is Happy actually going to be able to break through?
There are 11 Queens. How can he not have an Overseer in that previous fight? This time he's going to bring the Queens as well. Every single unit he kills should be a really good one, though. Oh, that's a key Blinding Cloud. Very well done by Snute.
Yeah, even one of the Thors is actually locked in here, so not doing anything. It's on a bit of an odd command at the back, so really didn't do much at all. Snoot's going to be able to break down this army. He's replenishing Queens. He's replenishing his entire army himself. And then from that point on, Happy has nothing left.
Yeah, Happy went for the fight after all, for the march across the map, which I didn't think he was going to do, but because I didn't think it was going to work. And it didn't work in the end, but Snute made it a little closer, I think, than it should have been by not having an Overseer in that first fight. But that was not even like an all commitment by Snute. That was more like, I'm going to soften your army up a little bit. I'm going to throw a couple punches. I have money to replace every single unit I'm going to lose over here, and the next time I will bring in the Vipers, I will bring in the Queens, and I have a couple of static defenses finishing up as well, while your army is already weaker because of our first engagement. So I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, so now that leads us to the point where we have our winners bracket final, which is Euthermal going up against Snute. So it's basically Snute, who has almost always been in like winners bracket finals here at the Intel Extreme Masters Qualifiers, going up against the new boy, but is looking fantastic. So this is going to be a really cool series.
Yeah, this is going to be a phenomenal series, of course. You know, one of the hottest Terran players in Europe right now, Euthermal, and unfortunately did not qualify for WCS Premier League Season 2, but he did get his revenge on the player that eliminated him today, because he played against Lilbao, and then he played that phenomenal series against Hearthstone, where, you know, once again, if you're a Terran fanatic, you got to watch those games, because there were a couple of moves in there that's going to make you, I mean...
Pretty excited.
Yes, it's going to make your eyes big. Mouth-watering good, I would say.
I would say so.
Especially against the Oracle. So I think it's going to be a really cool series. And of course for Snute, this is a really big qualifier as well. I know that we normally just always assume that Snute makes it out of qualifiers like this, as he has done so often in the past. But let's not forget that Snute is coming off one of the biggest disappointments probably of his entire career. You know, being eliminated in the round of 32 in this phase of his career, where he's so, you know, well established as one of the absolute top dogs of Europe. Going out in the round of 32 is not something that, you know, anybody saw coming, and probably definitely Snute didn't see it coming either. So this is a big qualifier. This would be a perfect way for him to redeem himself and be like, guys, I don't know what you thought after I lost one qualifier or one group stage. I'm still one of the absolute best in Europe. Yeah,
I would say so as well. It's going to be interesting to see if he can move on. He's been at a lot of Intel Extreme Masters in the past. We're going to go to a short break, guys, I think, and when we're back, we're going to find out our first player moving on to the Intel Extreme Masters Shenzhen. It's going to either be Euthermal or Snute.